What's going on, everybody? C4 here. Welcome back to the channel. Today originally was going to be a new episode of UNLV. I'm going to kick that to tomorrow because I'm still dealing with the Wentz stuff. And yesterday we did the initial reaction to the Wentz trade. We talked about the compensation. We talked about Wentz going to Indianapolis and what that means for the Colts. But we didn't really touch a lot about the future of the quarterback position for the Philadelphia Eagles. I talked about a couple players. I really want them to trade for Deshaun Watson, but I didn't really elaborate too much on it. And like literally, I got like halfway through recording UNLV, and I'm just like thinking about the Eagles, and I was like, let's just talk about it. It's like you're going to a therapist. I just need to talk this out. This is going to be my Eagles therapy for today, and we'll be back tomorrow with Madden and NCAA stuff. But before it came out today, this is actually the straw that broke the camel's back for me. On I was going to kick this down until next week or something like that, and just save the Eagles videos for a little bit. But it was like a report from Adam Schefter that Carson Wentz and Doug Peterson didn't speak for 10 weeks last season. That's like 70% of the regular season. They weren't talking. And how this like downward spiral essentially started. The starting point was when we drafted Jalen Hurts in the second round. And it is more complicated than what I'm about to say, but it's still just, as an Eagles fan, it's like we ended up just picking Howie Roseman over Carson Wentz and Doug Peterson. It just doesn't sit right. It's weird. It's not what you really want, especially given Howie's track record over the last 3-4 years of very bad free agency moves for the most part, very bad drafting for the most part. DK Metcalf, gone. Should have been an Eagle. Justin Jefferson should have been an Eagle. Didn't get any of those guys. And we still just sit here as a team that has... I made a tweet yesterday saying that I obviously had a Wentz jersey, a home Eagles green one. I have a bunch of legend ones. But I was like, there's not one Philadelphia Eagle that I want to get their jersey. Like, that's how bad it is, you know? And obviously, it's first world problems, but that's just how poorly built this team is at right now. That like, there's not one guy that I'm excited. Like, Miles Sanders, kind of, but then, you know, he's injured all the time, and he literally, like, cannot catch the football. Like, I'm worried about him as well. I mean, hopefully he turns it around. But the fact that, like, my favorite team, there's not one player that gets me excited looking at it, that's not really Doug Peterson's fault. That's not Carson Wentz's fault. That's Howie Roseman's fault. And he's still here. But then on the other side of it, like all three of those guys peaked in 2017. We always talk about 2017 Doug Peterson, right? And then Frank Reich left, and Doug maybe got exposed. 2017 Carson Wentz was easily the MVP of the league that year till the injury. And that was, I mean, 2019 Wentz was pretty good. I will always say that. But last year, Wentz was absolutely garbage. And then you find out all this other stuff. He's a fraud. Carson, we all thought Carson Wentz was this good guy. Now all this stuff is coming out from reputable sources, and he was an absolute dickhead. And from one standpoint, I am personally, at times, I can be an incredibly selfish person. I can understand Carson Wentz's mindset, right? Because that's kind of what I was approaching all last season, was Carson Wentz. His view is that this organization has done everything possible to screw him over and to not maximize the team. Like, oh, let's get a backup quarterback. Oh, let's spend all of our available salary cap on the defensive side of the ball, not get any weapons, and have Carson Wentz still throw to practice squad guys and try to find a way to get in the playoffs. I absolutely could see and understand Carson Wentz just kind of being, I'm done with the team. But then it's just, I don't know, man. There's something about the fact that we paid him to be the franchise quarterback, and Aaron Rodgers kind of kills it for me, right? Aaron Rodgers is a better quarterback than Carson Wentz, but if you're taking peak Carson Wentz, he can get in that same stratosphere of Aaron Rodgers. And Aaron Rodgers, very similar situation this year in Green Bay. Green Bay had a Howie Roseman of a draft. They drafted his replacement in the first round, and Aaron Rodgers went, oh, you drafted my replacement? I'm going to go vet on the Pat McAfee show, and I'm also going to turn my game up to a level 10, and I'm going to play like the MVP. And then you see Carson Wentz. What did he do? Oh, they drafted his well, not really his replacement, but still second round was a big investment. And Philadelphia, you know, I don't know if they're hoping to get some extra juice out of Carson Wentz. And you're seeing, as your Howie Roseman, Doug Peterson, Aaron Rodgers respond to the Jordan Love pick. And then you look at Carson Wentz, and he's all doom and gloomy, and oh, this is not fair, and I don't trade me, I don't want to be here anymore. Like, that's a little bit, like, that's how I'm getting over Wentz no longer being our quarterback, is like, really, bro? You want to get out that bad when you look at Aaron Rodgers and what he did and how he responded, like, and you respond this way? Bye! Get off my team. So, this guy, thanks to Kralo, hooked me up with this. This guy gone. This guy They did bring us this. Which I appreciate. But this has been, you can see when Will Parks got released last year. Philadelphia has been an organization that's been chasing that 2017 success for the last couple of years. And this offseason really highlighted, stamped with the Carson Wentz trade, it's a rebuild. So what does Philadelphia do with the quarterback spot going forward? Right now, QB1 is Jalen Hurts. We know my thoughts generally on Jalen Hurts. I absolutely despise the draft pick, and rightfully so, because that was really the downfall of this team. But, we had the Saints game. Jalen Hurts' Saints game for right now, for his limited body of work, is like the 2017 season for Carson Wentz. It's the one reference point that you can be like, man, there might be something there. And yeah, maybe. Absolutely. If Jalen Hurts is our quarterback one, I am married to the Eagles organization. I'm not married to players. And while I'm underwhelmed with Jalen Hurts, if he puts in the work, busts his ass, he seems like an incredibly likable guy to cheer for and root for off the field. If he can develop his game, take his game to the next level in the offseason with the brand new coaching staff, I'll buy a Jalen Hurts jersey, man. He's going to be that dude. But from what we've seen, from the body of work, and I talked about this in yesterday's video, it's incredibly fair to just look at what Jalen Hurts has done so far in the NFL and assume that he's at his ceiling. Because who knows what levels he can go to, right? Dak Prescott, that's his ceiling. Jalen Hurts can become like a Dak Prescott style player. Same skill set, and obviously Dak Prescott from when he came into the league out of Mississippi State to where he was last year before he went down to injury, throwing for 500 goddamn yards every game. Jalen Hurts could eventually develop into that guy. But when you look at Nick Sirianni's offense, there was a great breakdown on this, very simplistic, from Ben Solak. West Coast offense, quick throw, rhythm passer, generally pocket passers. Now, we don't need to say that you need to check off all those boxes if you are going to be potentially the Eagles quarterback, because that was an issue with the old guy. Doug Peterson, Jim Schwartz, biggest issue with these guys is that they needed players that fit their scheme. They did not make their scheme to fit the players that they had. Hopefully, with the hiring of Nick Sirianni, there's going to be that flexibility there, where Nick Sirianni's like, I have my West Coast offense. That's kind of what I use to sell myself to get this brand new head coaching job. But also, I'm going to be able to, modify it and maximize the players that we have available. And if they don't fit my scheme to a T, that's fine, because we're going to modify it. We're going to work around it and put them in the best place to succeed. So from that standpoint, yeah, maybe Jalen Hurts can work. But from a big picture standpoint of what Sirianni's offense is and Jalen Hurts' skill set, doesn't really match up perfectly or really even ideally right now. So makes some more validity to the reports yesterday right away that Philadelphia is going to be looking at bringing in another quarterback to compete with Jalen Hurts. That can mean anything. That kind of sounds like they're going to be looking for like a free agent, but that also could mean quarterback at pick 6 in the draft. That could also mean trading for a quarterback, and that's what I'm going to kind of quickly analyze here today, because I got a bunch of quarterbacks. I don't want to hold you guys up for too long. So we talked about Jalen Hurts. It is what it is. He's our quarterback one right now. But what do we do look outside the building? Free agency, I got 5 guys. One's Dak Prescott. 5 guys, burger and fries. Let's go work on that sponsorship. We got Dak Prescott. We'll talk about him. Most likely, he's not going to become a free agent. And if he does become a free agent, Philadelphia's salary cap is disgusting. There's no way we can sign him. So let's just throw that one out. Yeah, he's a guy there. It'd be unfair to not mention him, but also 0% chance he becomes an Eagle. You have Ryan Fitzpatrick there. That could be kind of exciting, but much like any of these quarterbacks I'm going to talk about as free agency signings, it's just underwhelming. Fitzmagic, it sucks that he got hurt, and I think that I was all for a Miami Dolphins playoff run last year with Ryan Fitzpatrick at quarterback. And if we did sign Ryan Fitzpatrick and he did emerge as our starter, I think out of all of these options, that could probably be the most fun we could potentially have next season, because it's one of those who knows. Philadelphia is 80% not going to be a contender next year. But if you get Fitzmagic, who knows? Who knows? But ultimately, this video is not necessarily talking about who can be our quarterback just next year. Who's going to be our quarterback? Who's going to be our franchise quarterback? You're not getting that in Fitzpatrick. You have Jameis Winston. There's that intrigue of, since he's had the eye surgery, is he going to play a lot better? We know the prolific passing numbers and prolific turnover numbers. Is he a scheme fit? Not really. Quick throws, rhythm passer, high football IQ, pocket passer. I mean, Jameis Winston isn't a scrambler by any means, but I don't know if he has the processing and accuracy to really succeed. I think it could be more of the same of what we saw with Bruce Arians in Tampa Bay, where, a lot of those quick throws, a lot of those, like for Philadelphia, they're going to be trying to manufacture a lot of touches, I think, for Jalen Reagor next year. Get him very, very close to the line of scrimmage, get him out in space, let him do some damage. Jameis Winston's just, the body of work for Jameis Winston, that's not a strength of his game. Jacoby Brissett and Tyrod Taylor. Those are the two quarterbacks that kind of seem like the most likely. Shane Steichen, who's our OC, is coming over from the Chargers, so obviously has a relationship, a rapport with Tyrod Taylor. We have Jacoby Brissett from the Colts, Nick Sirianni coming from the Colts. Both those names are incredibly realistic, almost probable names, and also incredibly underwhelming. Like, it's just, you get those guys, like, might as well just go with Jalen Hurts. Don't spend the money. Just keep that money, our very limited salary cap space, and try to improve the team to help out Jalen Hurts. Like, Brissett, Tyrod, Hurts, they're all kind of the same. I would much rather go with Jalen Hurts. So there's really nothing in free agency that I think could pique Philly's interest outside of, I think, maybe Fitzmagic for 1 year just to be fun, give us a little bit of excitement as a fan base next season. So then it's trading. What are we going to do for the trades? I got 3 quarterbacks that could be hot names for the trade market. One is Jordan Love. That's an exciting name, I guess, because he was a first-round pick last year. What would the return on investment be there for Green Bay? I don't think they'd be able to get a first in return, but a second. And then it's like, well, if you're talking about the second-round quarterbacks this year, you're talking about Mac Jones and Kyle Trask. Those are guys that are kind of in that 2 range. I mean, maybe Mac Jones is beyond that. He's going to be a late first-round pick. Jordan Love, if it only costs a 2, sure, right? I would take Jordan Love over Kyle Trask or Mac Jones, but that's me, and that's not viewing it from the scope of the Eagles' offense, because Jordan Love, not really a scheme fit for the Eagles' offense, right? Jordan Love, big arm, has some mobility, needs to work on his processing, needs to work on his accuracy, needs to refine his game. So you kind of still have a little bit of the Jalen Hurts situation where it's like, all right, not really a scheme fit, could kind of work, but if you're Philadelphia, you're not going to go to your way to give up more assets for a quarterback that absolutely needs to get reworked into your offense. And unless Jordan Love took massive strides last year learning under Aaron Rodgers, which he could have, that's probably a little unlikely. Number 2 is Marcus Mariota. How about that? Coming full circle. Remember when we had Chip Kelly? We all like, oh my God, is Philadelphia going to line up Chip Kelly and Marcus Mariota from Oregon? And obviously from Oregon, the spread offense. But the spread offense on the West Coast, I mean, Mariota, when you look at peak Mariota with the Tennessee Titans, he was very, very efficient through, while he did have the scrambling ability, which isn't necessarily what a Nick Sirianni offense needs, but Mariota's strength was always quick passes, first reads, get him into a rhythm. From that standpoint, very much fits in our scheme. And you tell me right now, depending on the cost, I don't know what the Raiders would look for Mariota. I'd say a 3 or a 4. Probably Mariota's a better scheme fit than Jalen Hurts. Similar from a scrambling standpoint, but as a passer, I think you get a little bit more out of Mariota right now than you do out of Jalen Hurts. And you have the upside with Jalen Hurts, the unknown of development, the ceiling. And I don't really know how high of a ceiling there is in Mariota being this long into the league. How much more are you going to be able to break his game down and retool it and develop him? That's interesting, though. I think Mariota would be a potentially interesting quarterback here for the Eagles offense. Not on an overly expensive deal. Shouldn't be too ridiculous from a salary cap standpoint. So he's definitely a guy I do think we should consider. We should be optimistic, open-minded about when it does come to talking about the Eagles' position. Sure, Mariota, sure. Number 1, Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson, I would mortgage the future for Deshaun Watson. Just because you look at the quarterbacks that Philadelphia, if Jalen Hurts isn't your guy, and you're not going to get another situation where someone that is a top 5 quarterback in Deshaun Watson is going to become available. You're going to have to give up. We'll just, like I said, we'll start with 3 first-round picks. That's what I talked about yesterday. I think that's going to be the starting point to even get into the table to discuss a Deshaun Watson trade. Look at the next 3 drafts. You still assume Philadelphia is not going to be the worst team in the NFL, right? There's always going to be worse teams. Philly's going to be a team that, this is going to be their floor. 3, 4, 5, 6, somewhere in that range. So looking at the quarterback prospects over the next couple of years, how do they stack to Deshaun Watson? So you trade whatever your picks for Deshaun Watson, or you keep those picks and you look at the quarterbacks in the 2021 draft. Zach Wilson, not a scheme fit. Justin Fields, not a scheme fit. Trey Lance, incredibly risky. Could be a scheme fit. Those are your first rounders. Maybe Mac Jones. Actually, Mac Jones is a scheme fit, but you're not going to get him at 6 if you're the Philadelphia Eagles. And then you're not going to trade back to get Mac Jones and overreach for him. It's just, it doesn't really make sense unless Mac Jones is there in the second round when Philly picks. And even then, So then you look at 2022. Spencer Rattler from Oklahoma. Not really a scheme fit. You got Sam Howell. One of my buddies said Hurts for Howell could be the new slogan for the Philadelphia Eagles next year. Sam Howell from UNC would be a scheme fit. Could be in play. But would you rather Sam Howell or Deshaun Watson? You're probably taking Deshaun Watson in that situation. You got JT Daniels, Carson Strong in 2022 again. I'd rather Deshaun Watson. 2023, Philadelphia. Ugalele from Clemson. He's going number 1. He's going to most likely be the number 1 pick. And we don't foresee Philadelphia these next couple of years being the worst team in the NFL. So there's beyond that, you have Graham Mertz from Wisconsin, Bryce Young from Alabama. None of these guys are really scheme fit. Plus, when you're talking about the 2023 draft, still a long ways to go to really project who are going to be the top quarterbacks outside of the Clemson Ugalele. So you're at a spot right now that if you're mortgaging the first-round future for the Philadelphia Eagles, you are not doing anything to live your quarterback. And there's no quarterback in college football now that I would rather have than Deshaun Watson in those first rounds. So I would personally mortgage the future to Deshaun Watson. And I honestly think if Philly wanted to make this move happen, Howie Roseman would be able to get the salary cap. We'd probably have to kill our salary cap. But I don't think the salary cap would be the hookup. I think the hookup on this deal would be, why would Deshaun Watson want to come to Philadelphia? Winning culture, sure. One of the best fan bases in the NFL, sure. You have to work with Howie Roseman. He ran, you're Deshaun Watson from the outside looking in. You're just seeing, they just won the Super Bowl a couple years ago, and now everybody's gone, and still the guy that remains is the GM. I'm coming from a toxic, terrible general manager type scenario in Houston. Why would I want to go to another steaming pile of shit in Philadelphia? I could honestly see Deshaun Watson, triggering that no-trade clause and not wanting to come to Philadelphia. But for me, that's why I would go with Deshaun Watson as my number 1 pick, if it is possible, because you have to weigh the cost of mortgaging the future, cost of spending all those first-round draft picks, giving them to Houston. And if you're Philadelphia, if we're trying to make sense of this, assuming the salary cap and the trade void, Deshaun wants to come to Philadelphia, he's open to that, which, there's 0 reports right now linking the teams. This is just complete fantasy realm Madden type bullshit. But if you're Philadelphia, we have 2 things. One is that there's no quarterback over the next couple years of first rounds that I can see that I would rather than Deshaun Watson. Number 2, we are terrible at drafting in the first round. More often than not, we draft guys that are supposed to go in the second round in the first round. So not having first round picks with Howie Roseman is not going to cripple this franchise. I would actually welcome it. I would welcome it. The easiest way for me to relate this is Philadelphia having a first round pick is like having the number 1 overall pick in fantasy football. You think it's good. You have number 1 overall pick in fantasy football. You think it's good. But then you just start to realize there's 4 or 5 different guys. All you think about in fantasy is I'm going to mess this up. There's 5 guys that look like they could be good. And you just have that cynical feeling I'm going to mess this up. I'm going to pick the worst guy. I'm going to pick the guy that gets hurt in the first round. You almost wish you didn't have the pressure of having the number 1 overall pick in the fantasy draft. You wish you're picking at 10. And then you get that 10 and 11. 1-2 in the old snake draft. That's what feels a lot more comfortable. I feel that's the same for the Philadelphia Eagles. While they're having these first round picks that you just have this anxiety that they're going to fuck it up, let's just get rid of them. Get Deshaun Watson, and then just hit on our day 2 picks. Day 2 picks where Howie Roseman doesn't have to act like the smartest guy in the room, and he could just be all right, we're going BPA. We're going to try to fix our team here a little bit. We're not going to have these premier priority picks. So, when all said and done, man, wish for Deshaun Watson. That's what I'm hoping for. I think I justified it when I just, Sam Howell, I guess, in 2022 could be an interesting fit for a Sirianni offense. Do I think the Deshaun Watson trade's not going to happen? Confidence on that's probably 20% that could come to fruition. I think best case scenario in the realm of possibility would be Marcus Mariota. I think most likely situation is a Jacoby Brissett or Tyrod Taylor and Jalen Hurts. And then maybe a quarterback at second. I don't know. What do you guys think? Out of all these people that we just talked about, what do you think Philadelphia should do at the quarterback spot? Let me know in the comment section. I had 20 minutes. I just had to get this off. Just get this out there. Again, this is where I can vent as an Eagle fan to a lot of fellow Eagle fans. it's my what did I say? It's like my therapy. You know, it's like I'm going to a therapist, and I can sit down at that little table, and I get to talk to you guys. So I think Deshaun Watson's the dream. I would love to say Marcus Mariota would be exciting. Fitzmagic could be exciting. My gut says it's going to be underwhelming. It's going to be, I don't know. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below. We'll be back tomorrow. Now that I got this off, I'm actually going to be able to go record, finish out the UNLV series. That will be out tomorrow. And then Saturday will probably be the next episode of the Chargers. So thank you guys for watching. As always, your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. Smash the like button if you enjoyed. And until next time, it's C4 saying peace out. Go Eagles.